about breaking news, and I know that everybody's saying, like, breaking news, what is that all about? So I don't want to spoil the fun, what I wanted to just allow is to give space and time, not too much, but I hope it's going to be enough, 5 minutes, for the speakers to tell us exciting announcements about some of the new initiatives, releases, programs that I'm quite sure will get us thinking and hopefully can get us also partnering and working together. So I will start with BJ. If you feel comfortable sitting there, you want to come here, if you feel of energy, whichever works for you. You prefer to sit? Okay.
Yes, thank you. So I'm going to speak to you about the Africa Information Highway. The Africa Information Highway was started in 2012. It's an initiative of the African Development Bank. It's demand-driven. It's in line with the Busan Action Plan for Statistics, where we call upon countries to open up the data, and it calls upon donors to assist countries to publish the data in open format. It is also, we also had the meeting of directors of statistics. We have this meeting every year, and the directors of statistics in one of the meetings called upon the bank to assist them to improve their data dissemination systems. That's how we took it up as one of our program, our components of our statistical capacity building program. So the objective initially was to help statistics officers to publish the information. They already have the information, but it was in Excel, PDF, on the website. Myself, I had to go there to look for information for 54 countries, so it was a bit long, and it was not using the latest technology. So that's why we came up with this program. And if you just quote something, the IEH was recently selected by Paris 21 as one of the most innovative initiatives globally to enable and inform the data revolution. So you see, we have already started the data revolution some time back. What happened is that we installed a statistical portal in all the statistical offices. This is for the official data. And also we installed an open data system where not only statistical officers, but also the citizen, anybody, a researcher can go and publish data there. So it is going to create debate and conflicting information. This is going to contribute to improve the data that is available. It is hosted on the cloud, so we pay for the hosting and for the maintenance of the system. So all 54 countries have an open data platform that is operational. Of course, there is the training, the capacity building. And as part of, we are trying to use this tool now to facilitate data sharing. For instance, now what happens is that an international organization like my own organization, we look for information, we will send a template to the countries, they will fill the information and send it back to us. So the UNESCO will do, the UNDP, many organizations will do the same thing. So now what we are telling countries is that you have the open data there, put your data on the open data, and we are going to map it to our own needs. So once you publish the information on the open data, we don't have to ask you to fill it. With the machine-to-machine connection, since it is SDMX compatible, we can just go there and grab the information. So we are working with the IMF as a start for a number of indicators. We have covered 22 countries. We are working with the central banks, national statistical officers, and Ministry of Finance, where we are collecting the macroeconomic data directly from the open data system. So 20 countries have been covered. We're going to cover the rest over the rest of the year. And recently we have come up with the Africa Food Price Collection Project. We are collecting we are covering all 54 countries. 25 agricultural commodities and non-agricultural commodities are collected on a weekly basis. These data are published immediately available on the website of the Africa Food Prices Collection. So it's available. You can compare prices of 25 commodities across all 54 African countries. Of course, we know that prices vary according to rural, urban, and all these areas. Even in one town, you've got so many prices. So this will take up as we increase the coverage. Health Data Hub, we did something on the Ebola for the Western Africa region to monitor what is happening in terms of different areas where there's Ebola cases. And also we are comparing health services in terms of how much it costs to go to a doctor, a nurse, dentist extraction, some basic health services. We are comparing prices across all 54 countries. This is an initiative that just started. We have just started at the request of a few countries like Zambia, Tunisia, Gambia. Some countries have asked us that they don't have a farm registry, and how can they improve agriculture if they don't even have a farm registry? Because, you know, countries no longer do agricultural census like in the past. So we just have to rely on extension officers. So we are helping countries to put a farmers registry in place. So what happens is that we are working with the extension officers in the Ministry of Agriculture. We are giving them, we are customized a template where they have it on their iPad. They go and collect the information. As soon as they collect it, it is validated quickly because it is on an iPad, and it is, on a laptop, on a small iPad, and then it goes directly on the server. The quality is improving, and they have got a management information system in place of farmers. So we have just started it in a few countries. I said Zambia, Tunisia, and we're going to extend on a demand basis to other countries. All this is to improve information management. And of course, we are going to use this information on top of the farmers' information. We can have weather information, we can have soil information, all this to improve agricultural productivity. And we have also executive dashboards. This is to give the summary information on what is happening in an economy to the Ministry of Finance, to the Prime Minister. He doesn't have to go. He has a dashboard on his iPad. What is happening in Tunisia or in Tanzania? We showed it to the president here. He was very impressed with it, and we are going to provide it to his office. And we have got the
Mr. Cockell, your time is up. So can you just quickly mention the apps?
Yeah. So basically that's it. So the last thing is, as I said, we started with statistical officers, but of course there are different ministries that have information to use. So now we are extending this the portal, not only to the statistics office, who has the most information, we are getting to all ministries, and all this is going to converge to a data hub. So this is what we are doing this year and next year. Thank you.
Wonderful. A round of applause, please. That sounds very exciting. As we can see, open data is not just about collecting data and falling asleep on all those numbers. I'm just very excited now to hear from Justin. Justin, you prefer to stand or sit? You can come and stand here if you feel electrified. And yes, you have that too. And the timekeeper is seated right there. So.
Thanks. So hi, my name is Justin. I'm with something called Code for Africa. Basically, Code for Africa is a federation of civic innovation labs across Africa. We've currently got physical labs in those places. It's physical labs. We also then run fellowships. We embed people into organizations, and we work with a lot of partners. The world that we live in, this is what data looks like in most of the partners that we approach and we work with. This is an actual picture from Nigeria of our health records archival room. And the request was, can we turn this into an app, please? We said, great, that's an opportunity. So we're partner-driven, we're locally based, indigenous organizations. Each of those labs that I spoke about are driven and owned as social impact enterprises by local civic entrepreneurs and innovators. And over the past 4 years, we've built up and we have over 90 projects in the portfolio at the moment, active projects. They range from drones and sensors through to lots of citizen-focused, citizen-driven digital projects, so things like citizen reporting, mapping, and so forth, all the way through to more sophisticated data-driven projects. A massive focus on media as a mass mobilization agent. We also work, we prefer to work not with large traditional NGOs, but with grassroots movements. So these are the kinds of people that are unions, women's societies, burial societies, and so forth. The reason is that they're at the coalface. In addition to that, we have a network of civic hackers across the province, across the continent. There are about 32,000 active in the moment in various hacks and hackers chapters. And we also collaborate with initiatives from people like the School of Data, which is an open knowledge initiative. The two things, or the news that I wanted to kind of bring your attention to today is that We're launching the second innovation fund that we've run and manage. It's $1 million for civic innovation. The grants are up to $100,000 each, a maximum of $100,000, scalable depending on the project needs. There's additional technology support from our in-country teams as well as people in the extended network. And we also give, very importantly, business development mentoring on each of the projects that we partner with. One of the principles that we follow is we try and build in revenue models into any project that we work on, even those that are in very classical, very traditional non-profit or NGO partners. This is a partnership between, the previous one was very strong in Anglophone Africa. We've now partnered with a French organization, CFI, and are rolling aggressively into Francophone Africa and including that in the mix for the upcoming challenge. The details will be announced in mid-September. The second announcement, which we'd already referred to in the pre-conference, is that we've made a 3-year commitment to one of those affiliate labs of ours, Code for South Africa. It's a 3-year commitment to establish an academy or school of civic data in South Africa. It'll have a 6-month curricula, so it'll be actually not just a workshop. You'll be in location, formal tuition for a set period of time for 4 months, and then the further 2 months of the program is embedding you into real-world partners to actually apply some of your skills. The partners that we've lined up for the first few cohorts or classes have given commitments that if the cadets or if the fellows achieve a certain standard, they would be employed full-time as internal data professionals in these organizations. The kinds of things that we're building are tools that we showcased during the pre-conference, and these include, for example, something called Got to Vote. It's quite easy to find on the net. It was built in Kenya in the run-up to their previous elections, and it helped people both register for the elections, confirm their registrations, and then gives you exit polls. It's subsequently been replicated in Ghana, Zimbabwe, and Malawi. In Malawi, it was adopted by the official electoral authority as the government solution. It runs on the back end with simple spreadsheets. So we try and build very simple backends, high impact kind of data, and then deliver it in the most effective way possible on the web, but more importantly via SMS messaging. So it's data via SMS. 400,000 people used it in Malawi, which is the most recent instance, and it helps identify 40,000 ghost workers on the roll. And then there's a similar project in Kenya, but I've been told it's time. Final thing I want to just stress is that we're looking for initiatives that focus on what's really important, what really matters in people's lives. The big question is, what keeps ordinary citizens awake at night, and how potentially could either digital or data innovation answer or address those challenges or questions. And we have a whole lot of back-end tools that can help that. And if you check online, you can see how we've tackled very big problems using very simple tools, from the Italian mafia and the activities in Africa through to massive tax avoidance in the oil sector. Thanks.
I completely realize that we would like to hear more, and I really feel bad, so I'm telling you the time is up. However, we need to keep moving, and I think once we get a sense of the time, we may have more questions from people, and you might be able to talk more. Kat, it's your turn now.
Okay, I had slides. Did they come through? I did. Oh, I sent them to Jean. Okay, well, anyway. So then I can be a bit brief. So I'm going to talk to you about the Global Partnership for the Sustainable Development Data, and in addition, these community data events that we're starting to run and kick off and put together over the next year. So the Data Revolution had a formation of the Sustainable Development Goals but that's evolved into as a global partnership on sustainable development data. And so that's a consortium of many different organizations. Others are welcome to join, just depending on the level of involvement. And that is going to get kicked off at the UN General Assembly meetings in New York, September 27th. So very soon. The week before that, which is actually 2 weeks from now, we're having a community data event, this time in DC. And what it's going to do is kick off these iterative engagements where we're trying to grow the existing community to contribute to the Sustainable Development Goals and realizing them faster. And so the idea behind this is that you don't need to be a government or a corporation or even an organization in order to be part of the Sustainable Development Goals. Hey, thanks. But that you can actually, okay, here we go. Photo didn't come through, but there's a very adorable photo of people in the middle. So the idea is that you don't actually have to be affiliated, but any individual can contribute to the SDGs. So here are 2 websites to learn more. One is, the one below is the actual event. The one above is where people can actively contribute and ask questions and suggest locations for future ones. So what we want to do is have a series that takes place around the world. And leading up to some significant conferences that are coming up, but also just to grow and continue for all of the SDGs. I have up here a request for what problems we could solve in a year. And the reason for that is that the data revolution goal is often seen as monitoring. And monitoring is hugely important. You must monitor the other goals. You have to get the baselines correct. You have to understand if people are having impact. But a lot of times monitoring is sort of seen as communications. You tell me how well I'm doing. But it's not seen as a dynamic partnership. And so what we want to do is impress upon everyone that the role of data is actually to reach the Sustainable Development Goals faster and with longer-term sustainability. So the intention of having specific problems that we can solve in a year that we can show actually impact people. So putting together a portal is wonderful, but how does that change somebody's daily life? So if you have ideas for this, in general, it would be great to hear them. Again, you can submit them either by going to the below website and registering for your interest just in general, going to the above website and asking other questions that you would like answered. So that's our announcement. Paul, is there any place that people can go to learn more about the partnership yet? Okay, so eventually the community data event front part of that URL will, the entire partnership, you can come and learn more, but that will be after the announcement. So hope to talk with you all. Thank you.
Wonderful, Kat, and thank you so much for keeping time. In fact, you've saved a bit of time. Zachary.
Good afternoon, everyone. Going later down in the panel, I don't think I have quite as earth-shaking announcements as some of my other distinguished panelists here. I'm part of the Feed the Future initiative, so the United States' whole-of-government food security and nutrition initiative, which President Obama launched when he came into office. Now, part of what we're doing right now is responding to President Obama's Open Data initiative and releasing data around Feed the Future initiative. You can find this data on usaid.gov/data. And if you do a search for Feed the Future, all the data sets that we've, up to now released, and we will continue to release data around the Feed the Future initiative. So part of the request here is, I'll get straight to the ask, is we need your help to understand whether or not this is useful to you. Feedback on the way it should be formatted, or just that, we should focus on other types of data being released. And as we respond to the open data mandate from the White House, we will be adding more and more data from both our research activities, extensive with universities across the globe, as well as from our private sector activities. One of which is Agribusiness Regulations and Institution Index, which was an implementing partner went and scraped data from government records to find out how long it took in certain countries to register a business. And so as we go forward, these different types of data sets will be released. Now, instead of overwhelming you with all of them, which ones should we focus on? And so if you could provide us with that feedback, either directly to myself or to the opendata@usaid.gov, we'd greatly appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Fernando, IDRC, Canada.
Do you have the slides? Just 1 second. I start very quickly. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Fernando Perini, I work for IDRC, and I have actually the opportunity to talk now and in the next session. And now I'm gonna be talking about the Africa Open Data Collaboration Fund. That's basically something that's designed specifically for this conference, and so it's really breaking news for the last 5 minutes because they just put it on the website. And I have another a bit older news that I'm going to be talking on the other. That's just a report and some of the efforts that we are just developed and launched earlier in the week. So now I'm going to talk about the kind of really hot news that basically is the African Open Data Collaboration Fund. The idea I am the program coordinator of something that's called Open Data for Development program or network, and we were very glad to partner with the African Open Data Conference that we think is a kind of groundbreaking milestone for the open data community in Africa, and we just to launch this fund and try to see how we can support the conversations that are happening here these days with all of you. So just talking about what ZOD4D is, the donor partnership between IDRC, the World Bank, Government Canada, and the UK government. And basically we work with a network of partners around the world to scale solutions that work and work both from the supply side with governments, both work with the demand side, and also to create a kind of collaborative global agenda on how we can work together to harness the power of open data for development. We have been working in Latin America with the regional conference that's called Condatos. We have recently did the International Open Data Conference, and the African Open Data Conference for us is a kind of partner sister conference that we would like to support and really strengthen this community. So basically, in consultation with people that were organizing the conference, with Justin, Nena, Jean, and many others, we said, well, we need something to continue the conversation that are sparking new conversations here, new ideas, and so on. We need to kind of find a way to support that idea moving forward. So we are putting aside a small fund to support civic entrepreneurs to build data communities around that can improve service delivery to citizens in Africa. So many of the things that we just discussed in the previous panels that we're talking about, water, education, health, and so on, and local level governments, many of the conversations that we had during the day. If there are any specific new ideas that you want to develop further together with the organizers of the conference, we would like to hear from you, and kind of the idea is to facilitate the spread of ideas and tools and skills to have something that's really context aware and high impact innovation. You know that the importance of having these very connected with organizations in Africa and leaders in these communities, and so it is limited to these organizations. What can we support? Up to $15,000. So it's kind of seed support. We expect to have 5 to 10 groups that we're going to projects that we support. We'll organize this together with the organizers of the conference and also the International Open Data Conference, in the sense that we'll also potentially successful cases we can also bring to Madrid, where we're going to have the International Open Data Conference next year. And we obviously would like to try to, as much as possible, peer with a broad network that we have in Africa already working on the research side, on the innovation side, both in Africa and internationally, so to strengthen these projects as part of the overall community, the OD4D community. The call is open now, just until the end of the month, and then we're going to do a fast selection process to get things going on relatively soon, potentially by the beginning of next year, and moving to complete by 6 months down the road. So just check the call at od4d.net if you are interested, and the call will be managed with Open Knowledge and the organizers of the conference, and with the organizer committee. That's it from my side. Thank you very much.
Wonderful, thank you so much. And I'd like to now welcome Edward Kwame Jansen from the government of Sierra Leone.
Thank you very much.
Your timekeeper is there.
Good afternoon. The breaking news is that on the 28th of August, the Open Government Initiative and the OGP in Sierra Leone handed over the Open Data Portal to the Right to Access Information Commission. So what have we done to move this process forward? We have started training government officials, civil society organizations, and some parts of the private sector about the portal, how to upload data, how to navigate around the portal. And what we did is that in collaboration with the World Bank and an Open Data Partnership, we have trained these officers alongside the technical as well as the administrators, the civil servants, senior civil servants, and the focal persons who will be the hands-on men to upload the data. And what we've also done is there are certain policies and laws in our country that are archaic, and if we need to have the portal functional and have the necessary impact, we have decided to review some of the laws. The Commission has requested the Public Sector Reform Unit to review the Records Management, Public Archives and Records Management Act, and also the Records Management Policy to reflect modern trends. And also we have decided to form a data council, which will comprise the Commission, the Transparency International, the Anti-Corruption Commission, Society for Democratic Initiatives, and then other key players, the Ministry of Information and Communications, to actually manage the portal. And they are further divided into subcommittees. One is responsible for strategy and policy. The other departments are responsible for technical support. The policy people have to make sure they sensitize the public about the data, ensure that everybody's aware, even the listman in the village, and also the technical wing, which is the Ministry of Information, the MCCU, they will ensure that the web is up and running, is also trained, provide technical support, and also make sure that everything around the portal data is uploaded in a timely manner. But what our challenge is that the portal has been funded for a year by the World Bank Open Data Partnership, and moving forward, after 1 year, sustainability is an issue. We are looking for partners to help us sustain the portal, because in Africa, release of data by government officials is not easy, and sometimes, like a colleague from Ghana was talking about his experience collecting data, that you need to give money to get the data from the government official. And in our case, we have not reached that yet, but there will be a time maybe somebody will put up some bottlenecks. Although the right to access information law calls for proactive disclosure of information. So we rely on the law to enforce that, to make sure that data is released. And thank God we have the political will. The government is ready. They're ready to promote openness. And we will not have difficulty in terms of getting data, I believe. And also, we really need capacity, because this is the very first time we're having a portal up and running in the country, so we need a lot of capacity building. We also request support, and Catherine, I hope you will make good use of my card. I will need your support. We need a lot of capacity, and of course, the Right to Access Information Commission will be the secretariat for the Data Council, who will be coordinating everything alongside with the Millennium Challenge Coordinating Unit. So the arms of government that are responsible for transparency and openness, the OGI, OGP, the MCCU, Right to Access Information Commission, we are working collaboratively. And also we have a lot of support from civil society. So that's why we are so far, and you're welcome to go to Sierra Leone and to support us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A round of applause, please. Thank you so much. I'm going to be taking exactly 2, maximum 3, if somebody really has a very important question for the panel. I know that you have a lot of questions, but as you've seen them and I've said their names, I'm sure afterwards you can talk to them. But is there a question that you feel will be very useful for everyone to hear? Yes, please.
My name is Wisdom from Ghana. I just remembered something. The academia, it seems like we are not talking much about academia. I'll give an example. For example, in Ghana, for instance, we realize that the academia is not using data that much. So when, each and every year when they come out, you ask them, what project did you work on? Then they tell you, some of them just a normal website without any data backing it. You see, so sometimes they come to the various ministries, you try to find out, or you give them a simple task, Excel, do this and then plot this graph. You realize that they are not able to even plot a graph. And then these are the same people that are being pushed into the various sectors. So what can we do to actually include open data into the curriculum of these various institutions?
Sure.
Yeah.
I think that's a great question, and then we need to keep thinking. I think some of the initiatives here may be something that you want to pick up with them as well. Can you kindly switch off your mic, please, so we don't have sound interference. Can we get, if there is a very specific question to the panel, because we're really out of time. Any specific questions to the panel? Okay, round of applause, please. This was great. I think, there is grants here, ideas. There's a lot of things we can work on. So thank you so much for everything, the innovation, the plans, the big, big, big possibilities.